Hi there, I'm Spenta, and today I'm in my gardens sharing my spring gardens with you, my spring produce garden in particular, growing lots of Cucurbit and nightshade family, and I have some produce right here. My tomatoes are getting ready, and the black-eyed Susan flowers are growing really quick behind me. I'm growing flowers, in particular this black-eyed Susan, some sunflowers and other flowers in here to attract insects and attract pollinators to my gardens. It also helps attract the bugs you don't really want near your produce to go to these beautiful flowers instead, and you get to enjoy beautiful flowers in your produce gardens. I am using companion planting method for my produce this year. I hope you enjoy my share. Again, I'm Spenta. Save planet Earth now, tomorrow, always. Hi, I'm Spenta. I live in USDA Zone 7, and today I'm sharing my gardens with you. It is now springtime, and here I have some beautiful produce that I'm looking forward to enjoying in the summertime. I have some cucumber, tomatoes, peppers. Over here, some more tomatoes again, peppers, eggplants, and basil, which is a very good companion plant to tomatoes and peppers. Over here I have squash, zucchini, and here is a beautiful flower. It's my black-eyed Susan. Back there I have some sunflowers. Over there on the corner, I will get to it, that is my echinacea. I have used succession planting to move some of my echinacea and sunflowers. Also my hollyhocks and black-eyed Susan. I've used succession planting early on in the spring to transplant them in different areas of my gardens so that I can see blooms in different areas. Now, the reason I plant flowers in my vegetable gardens are a few reasons. Number one reason, of course, is to bring in the pollinators. Number two, it's actually really good because the flowers over here, back there, and over there, the way I've accented this garden, the flowers are going to be so vibrant that when there is any kind of fly or bug or pest, anything you can think of, there will be more attraction to my flowers than my produce, which is what I want them to do. I want them to focus on going to my flowers and not eating through my plants. And what do I mean by that? Over here, I have a plant. This is my zucchini plant. It's a squash zucchini, and squash zucchini is really good. However, in my area we have what's called the squash bug, and if you get squash bugs and they go into the tubes in here, right down here, and they will actually nest in there and eat through the whole plant. So my goal is for my cucumbers, for my squash, for my anything that's in the family of Cucurbitaceae. Basically, anything that's Cucurbitaceae is similar to this. It is squash, zucchini, it could be a cucumber, totally different plant than the nightshade family, which is actually eggplant. Let me go over here. Eggplant has solanine in it, so the leaves are actually toxic, though the eggplant itself is not. Eggplant needs a lot of sun. So eggplant needs a lot of sun in order to produce eggplants. And I have planted the eggplants right in the center of my gardens. As you can see, again, it's springtime, so it's still early for my eggplants to have eggplants on them. I'm really happy to see the tomatoes over here. There are some pear tomatoes, really beautiful, and I have cherry tomatoes. I also have sweet 100s in other areas of my gardens. I use my own compost, so that's really important. Before you start your gardens, I highly recommend that you come up with a plan. Plan is, how much sun does my garden get? What do I want to plant in here? What do I like to eat? And what plants go well with each other? How much sun and water do they need, and what type of soil is important for them? So in order to make soil very convenient for myself, I actually have a compost pile. The compost pile is large, and it consists of 1/3 portions of grass clippings and anything that is from my gardens that are dead, and 1/3 veggies and kitchen leftover scraps such as fruits or veggies. I do not put any citrus in my compost pile, and also I make sure that I add 1/3 portion of cow manure, and every 2 weeks I rotate my compost pile by using a really large tool and actually rotating it. You need to continue to water and rotate your compost pile so that you can actually have dirt that you can use in your gardens. Once you have the dirt that you want and its proper acidity, its proper way that you want it to be, mine is actually a neutral soil, mine is a neutral compost. You make your garden bed. After you make your garden bed, that is the time to decide, okay, which plants should go where. I highly recommend that you plant tomatoes in tomato cages because they do need support. As you can see over here, they are going to need support. There are 2 different types of tomatoes. One is an indeterminate tomato and one is a determinate tomato. Some that actually take their lifetime and grow and then they produce tomatoes, and one that continues to grow tomatoes for you. So that is the difference between the 2 types of tomatoes, indeterminate and determinate. So there is that. And again, here I am going to one of my Cucurbit. That is actually a cucumber plant right there. It belongs to the Cucurbit family, same as squash, and I love cucumber. Cucumber is so aromatic. The plant itself smells like cucumber. And I want to discuss a bit about the flower colors of these plants. Squash and zucchini typically produce yellow flowers, just like you see right there. So does cucumber. And tomatoes do the same thing. Over here, peppers, they produce white flower here, sometimes with a little bit of accent hue. Though this one I'm sharing with you is my eggplant. Every eggplant I have ever planted in my gardens has a purple flower before it produces an eggplant. I have heard some people who have white flowers on their eggplants. I have never seen white flowers on an eggplant or yellow flowers on an eggplant. For me, I have only witnessed eggplants with purple flowers. Anything that has a leaf similar to this and has similar growth looking like a pumpkin or a watermelon belongs to a different family. As I mentioned, Cucurbit is a different family than the nightshade family. Eggplants and tomatoes belong to the nightshade family. However, pumpkin, squash, cucumber, zucchini, and more, they belong to a different family. They belong to Cucurbit. I'm going to come over here. Let's look. And let's see. Oh, it appears that's my beautiful eggplant seed flew over to that side. I live in a very windy area. There we go. Quick grab. Oh, this is my Lady Banks rose. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant, and it produces yellow flowers. While I'm at it, I might as well tell you a little bit about it. It's a Persian plant. I'm Persian. Again, I'm Spenta. I'm totally Persian, and I do my best to put Persian plants in here. But to tell you the truth, Persian plants sometimes have issues because they are in a different climate and different zone than I. For example, if I stand back here and share with you, this was my pomegranate tree, right? Winters get so cold here. You see, the pomegranate is now just starting to grow again. Too late for it to bloom. So therefore, what I end up having is pomegranate without pomegranates. So it's actually a tree without pomegranates. Same thing will happen if I plant citrus out here. Same thing. My citrus tree will be pretty. It will have leaves on it, but it will not have any fruits. In order to have fruit, your plants need to have enough time to see the sun, to produce enough energy in their system so they can grow their leaves first and then their flowers. If we have a cool season and then we have warm climate coming in, this is what happens. You will not end up with blooms, you'll end up with leaves. And that is why it's so important to get the timing right on when you plant what you plant. I use companion planting. I also use succession planting. So I want to share some things with you, some seeds with you. This is my black-eyed Susan. It's going to look really pretty soon. It's still springtime. That's a hollyhock right there. I love hollyhock plants. And as soon as I get up to show you one item, the other two go away. There we go. Here we go. Hopefully I have all the seeds at this point. Pepper on this pepper plant, and I have more pepper on my other pepper plants. I'm pretty excited. It's actually interesting to have early peppers. Let me show you some things real quick here. Okay. This is an eggplant. I did not plant this variety. The variety I have is different than this. I have Black Beauty. That's what I planted in my gardens. Though it will also produce purple flowers. At this time, it's too late in the season for me to plant eggplants. You see, okay, let's read the back here. It says it takes 50 to 60 days to harvest. Okay, that's right, 50 to 60 days to harvest. Now, how long will it take to bloom and how long will it take to grow? That's what's important. You have to have a mature plant before it starts producing fruit. And before it produces fruit, it needs to have flower. Okay, so this belongs to the nightshade family, no matter what I try to do. Same thing as tomatoes, whether indeterminate or determinate, they belong to the nightshade family. Okay, so that's one. Both of these, gourds and squash, that is one of my favorite squash plants. I'm going to plant some seeds, and I love patty pan squash, by the way. It's so delicious by itself or in food. This all belongs to the Cucurbitaceae family. So Cucurbitaceae covers pretty much anything that has similar to yellowish flower that grows in a vine. These all will grow in a vine, or if they grow up straight like the squash does, it will still have yellow flowers. So squash and zucchini, unlike watermelon or cucumber, do not grow a vine and send their vine over. Cucumber and gourds, along with some pumpkin, also with watermelon, those are some plants that actually spread in a vine manner. This here is not a vine manner. Pay attention that the plant has yellow flowers on it. I had a lot of friends asking questions about this, so I needed to make a video to share it, to go over the different families of this and explain to you that the flowers, the leaves are totally different on an eggplant versus a squash. See the pattern of leaves? Very different. Make sure you purchase the right plant. Make sure when you purchase your plant, you have a plan for where you want to plant it, and I highly recommend mulching your gardens. Mulching your gardens helps a lot with keeping moisture in, and that's what you want to do, because in my area it will get warmer. Again, I mentioned I live in USDA zone 7, and boy, we do have very harsh winters. So all of this that you see in here is an annual minus my actual trees, iris flowers that are on that side, and here, as you can see, my pomegranate, though it will not produce pomegranate. I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson that here where I live, it is not Florida, it is not California, and it is not Shiraz, because back then and back there, yes, citrus grows, pomegranate grows. But over here, it's best to focus on cooler weather climates or plants that are going to be perennial or evergreen. Here is an example of a plant that is beautiful, black-eyed Susan. It dies back to the ground, a little bit of it stays, but it comes back each year. So that is what I call a perennial. Eggplants, tomatoes, squash, zucchini, basil, all of this are annuals. So over here, I have some sunflower that I have transplanted by using succession planting. Succession planting and transplantation is when you take plants from one area of your garden or cuttings from one plant and take it and put it in another area of your garden. So that is one method of succession planting. And companion planting is what I've done over here. As you can see, I have peppers and basil and tomatoes next to each other. They will grow much larger. It is just now started. So it's springtime. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with this. Really looking forward to not having any type of squash bug. Squash bug is a big issue here, and I have used a variety of methods. So looking forward to sharing plenty of cucumber, vegetables like squash, zucchini, anything like that without the harm of pests. Here we are, and those are some of my determinate versus indeterminate tomatoes over here. They also belong to the nightshade family. I transplanted my echinacea by using succession planting. Basil's over there. It's so aromatic. And there is hollyhock. I also moved my hollyhock here by using succession planting. Over here, it's borage. Hollyhock is going to be perennial. It's a perennial flower. And borage is a medicinal flower. It's a medicinal plant. It's lovely. The actual plant itself smells like cucumber, and then they grow really beautiful pink flowers that look like cucumber. I think I have some over here that are starting to bloom, so I can share some with you. There is borage. So it's an herb. So as you can see, I have herbs that flower. I have flowers in here that flower. And I also have plants. I have produce. It's really important that I add flowers next to my produce. I really want pollinators to come sit from one plant to another, and that is what helps me have more produce. Again, I'm Spenta. I thank you for watching my share, and I hope you have a good season of gardening and a fun time with your plants. I decided this year that I'm going to plant tomatillos. So I have a couple of plants right there. Those are my tomatillos back there. Tomatillos are really delicious, really delicious. And these are some leftover carrots. I just have carrots all over the place. I love carrots, and they're self-seeding. So if you see them, they grow everywhere. Anyway, anything that you don't want in your garden is considered a weed. Get rid of it so your other plants can grow the way you want them to grow and in a healthy manner. Thank you for watching my share. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm Spenta. I live in USDA Zone 7. Save planet Earth, now, tomorrow, always. Remember your plant families. Remember that it's important to use good soil, have sun, and adequate water in order to have a successful garden. Again, I'm Spenta, wishing you happy gardening and a beautiful day.